Well, over the weekend, we saw President Trump take strong and decisive action to ensure that Iran does not any longer have a nuclear weapons program. Not only did the president work with our allies in the region, of course, working very closely with Israel, but the president defended America. Again, let's not forget, the Ayatollah and many others in his leadership structure have been chanting death to America for years as they tried to get a nuclear weapon under previous presidents who let this build and build for decades, and the world knew one day it had to be confronted. But the president didn't just take that strong and decisive action under the War Powers Resolution. In compliance with that law, he notified Congress within 48 hours of the actions that were taken. And hopefully that's as far as it's going to go. The president announced yesterday that there is now a ceasefire. Again, peace through strength, they're not just words. They have to be actions that a president of the United States who's strong and bold and decisive is willing to take those steps to keep America safe. And I think most people in the civilized world know that a nuclear-armed Iran is not just bad for America, but it's bad for other countries all around the world. Now, we've got another busy week here in Washington. Today, we're going to be debating the resolution to condemn the political violence in Minnesota. I think you'll see a very strong bipartisan message being sent by Congress that political violence is never acceptable. And you see the actions over the weekend with the state representative and her husband who were brutally murdered, the senator who was nearly killed. We keep all of them in our prayers and their families. But we know that justice will prevail, and ultimately, in America, we need to be united when we say that political violence is never the answer. We're going to also bring more legislation to protect Americans from illegals who come here and commit violence against our constituents. Somebody gets a DUI here while they're here illegally. And I saw this in my own district, where you had an illegal who came about 8 times the legal limit and murdered an 18-year-old girl and her boyfriend. And he was fine, but they are no longer with us. And we see this every day in communities all across the country. We've given President Trump some tools in law, like the Lake and Riley Act, to keep us safe from people who come here illegally and commit violent acts against our citizens. This will be one more of those tools. Of course, Friday we're going to have a vote to stand up for our ICE agents and for law enforcement in Los Angeles and other communities who are trying to keep us safe in the face of these violent riots, like the LA riots that you're seeing. That will be Friday. Of course, the overarching focus has been on the One Big Beautiful Bill. The Senate finally has the legislation. They're moving forward. We've continued up here to talk about so many great things that this will do to get our economy back on track, to put more money in the pockets of hardworking families through so many provisions like certainty in the tax code, ensuring that you don't have a massive tax increase that would hit lower and middle income families, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, the ability to have bonus depreciation, some of the other things that would bring investment into this country. But we also have so many other provisions. Border security, of course, is one, but energy security is a big component of this bill to allow America to continue producing more oil so we don't have to be dependent on foreign countries. So world markets aren't worried about an action Iran might take. When you saw them talking about shutting off the Strait of Hormuz, you really didn't see much of a change in oil prices because America and our allies can now pick up the slack because you have a president, Donald Trump, who wants to open up more American energy opportunities. And so do our friends around the world. And in this bill, we have a number of provisions to do that. But rather than me talk about those provisions, and I love the great work that South Louisiana is involved in so many different fronts at producing energy for the rest of the country and the world, but I am proud to have one of my constituents, Paul Danos, whose family for 3 generations has been involved in the energy industry. He knows just what it takes to produce American energy and the challenges that can be posed if Congress and the White House don't get it right, and what opportunities we have ahead for our country if we do get it right. That great leader is my friend Paul Dennis.